Good morning, and this is DadSchooled podcast. I'm Josh, and that's Jimmy. I just realized that if someone watches this not in the morning, that'd make no sense to them.
That's okay. I
As
still
this,
pray they had a good morning that morning,
as
or
this
or
is
the
a
next morning
podcast,
they encounter.
yeah, that somebody might watch in the evening, and now they're like morning, and then that one viewer was not going to watch this anymore because I said good
We're
morning,
the
and
liars.
they feel awkward.
Yeah, they lied to me.
It's been a while, Jimmy. What have we been up to?
Um, Branson Homeschool Conference, which was
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
We had a
I
really
went to
really good experience there.
Yeah, I guess it was just Branson, and it was your fault, your fault, your fault.
Uh, Memorial Day, things happen.
Oh yeah, that was not our
Go
fault.
places.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we are back, and we're going to do a little bit of a different show than normal. I think it's going to be well received. We'll tell
Oh,
by
I- you were
well,
saying talent show. I'm really nervous about that.
talent show. Actually, speaking of me saying things, I did receive a contact from our website, and I
Ooh,
wanted to give a shout out to Chris, who emailed beginning homeschool journey as a primary teacher for our girls this year. Thought that was pretty cool. So good luck, Chris, and I hope you have a good time being the primary homeschool teacher for your girls. And if you need any help or any questions, definitely feel free to fill out another contact form on our website and ask us questions, because Jimmy here is somewhat of an expert on homeschooling girls, isn't he?
a little bit. I am going into year-ish 3 of being the primary homeschooler of 2 girls, so I can
Yeah,
relate.
that's good. So we have I almost say an expert in our midst that can help with anything you have questions on. I am a expert on secondary caring for 2 girls, because I have 2 girls I've helped raise since birth. They're my daughters. That's how it works. But they're also homeschooled. So yeah. So I thought that was an
Just
interesting little
don't call me professional because I don't get paid for it, and I
professional.
think that's the one criteria for being a professional is that you do it for your profession. You get paid for it. And I'm not getting paid.
Well, you don't think that the reward of raising 2 girls is a payment, like enough?
Oh, that's what makes me an expert.
We call you professor,
Professor, yes. Josh and the professor.
Josh and the professor. It doesn't have the same ring to it, but
Uh,
neither does Dad School podcast. So there we are.
go, I'm gonna go get my bow tie.
Oh man, don't put a bow
Goes
tie
great with,
on, please.
goes
I don't
great with
trust people in bow
hoodies.
ties. It's just weird. All right, so okay, enough lollygagging, Jimmy. So we're back. We're going to talk today about what Moses teaches us about being a father and feeling inadequate. I
We're gonna
think
learn about Moses' kids.
we're going to learn about Moses's kids. Exactly. Moses's kid. No, Moses has kids. Um, so, when I say inadequate, if I can even say that word, what's the first thing that pops in your mind, Jimmy?
Um, other than myself.
Yeah, I mean, other than yourself. That's the first thing that pops in my mind too. So you're you.
That's any other dads out there. If you thought of something else other than yourself, then I'm proud of you. Good job. You're winning.
Probably, I think at heart, most dads might self-diagnose that first question right off the bat. Me. They might not say it out loud to all their jock friends that have popped collars and run around thinking they're super cool. But no, I mean, I would say it's common that dads of some sort will feel inadequate throughout their fatherhood journeys, thinking they're not enough for their spouse or for their little spawnlings. It's a weird way. Offspring, kids, children. There we go. So why do you think that is? Why do you think dads feel that way, Jimmy?
I think I was trying to give this a little thought, and from my experience, and maybe you relate, maybe some other dads relate out there. I think one of the largest fallacies that you and I, our generation, I kind of feel like we were the kindness generation. Everything's all about being kind all the time, and so maybe you were told this or heard this at some point in like elementary school, because that's when I remember first hearing it. There were the posters on the walls with like the kitten hanging on or whatever, all that sort of
I
stuff.
love that one.
But the sort of saying, you're perfect just the way you are.
False.
And exactly that type of encouragement drives me absolutely nuts. But it's what we were told as kids, and I'm sure that in a lot of cases, I'm very sure in a lot of cases, that's what kids are still being told today. I think a lot of adults are still being told that today. And you end up, that feeds into a sense of inadequacy, because in the back of your mind, you go, well, if I'm perfect like this, but I feel like this, and I just screwed up this morning or yesterday, or I made another mistake, but I'm perfect. This is as good as I'm gonna get. This is as good as it gets. Or you end up with a false assuredness that you have no work to be done, that you have no improvements to make, and you just come across as an arrogant jerk who thinks you're God's gift to all creation, because I'm perfect just the way I am. It's gonna cut one of those two ways, and I think both of those are a disservice. None of us are perfect just the way we are. We are all of us sinners, sinners in the hands of an angry God. I think I heard a sermon on that one time. But no, we all have work to do. We all fall short, and we're all in this together.
Yeah, I think you said it right there perfectly, almost that almost
But
that
inadequately, not perfectly.
yes, perfectly. But I believe it fosters a sense of celebrating mediocrity in a way, like you said, you're good enough, you're perfect the way you are, but in reality you're not, because everyone doesn't deserve a trophy. Here's that soapbox again. There's going to be winners, there's going to be losers, there's going to be people who get completely destroyed in something they're doing in life, and that happens, and that's okay, and that's good, because that's what actually teaches us. I need to be better. I need to do better. I need to do better next time. I need to do a little bit better than I did this time, because if we keep on hearing, "You did great, honey," whenever or whoever says that to you, I would say honey, but I'm just like thinking of a kid hearing that. It's just not helpful, and it's not like if the kid takes it to heart. Like, here's a story. My mom hears this. She's gonna be mad that I tell this story. Actually, hopefully she's not listening. When my sister was in, I think, high school, maybe, she was playing piccolo and she was playing flute, and she did these. I don't know if it's a state champion or some kind of competition for playing. It's called solo ensemble, and I did it as well when I was in high school, but I didn't really take it to heart. I just did it because everyone else did it, so I did it. My sister, though, she was, not say competitive, but she was in there to do good, right? She was trying to do good for herself and get a reward. I'm not even sure what the reward was. I was probably too young to care. Whole story. The reason my mom's gonna be mad when I say this, my sister did terribly. Like, she did horrible in her performance when she was being graded, and it sounded like terrible. And afterwards, my mom, I've said this a couple times, and I brought it up. My mom was really mad at me when I brought it up. But my mom said to her, "We all know that if you practice more, you would have done better." Like, in the moment, we're there. My mom said that, and she regrets it, and she feels bad about it. But I'll never forget that. I was like, "That was awesome, Mom." Like, that was honest. It's exactly what she didn't want to hear right now, but she needed to hear. And that, I've always thought about that. Like, there's ways to be tactful, and I probably wasn't tactful way to say something for my mom, and she regrets it. And she always refers that situation to as her putting her foot in her mouth, which essentially it was. But I think that we can take a lot away from that as dads. We can be, let's see, we can be respectful, but we also need to be honest.
Mhm.
If our daughter does something like, let's just say, and I have a good example too. My daughters played soccer for a while, for several years. They were not the best. They weren't aggressive enough. They didn't push hard enough. They would stand back and let the other girl get the ball because it's the nice thing to do. So someone get the ball. Even the other team is like, no, take the ball. It's your ball. But they were just being nice. They didn't play the sport with ferocity. And I would tell them that. I'd tell them, hey, you did okay, but you need to be better. And that kind of speaks to what we're talking about here. Like, I think as dads, even though we might not feel like we're doing a good job, maybe we're not. Maybe we need someone to tell us that, and we need to evaluate it and to a sense man up and see what we need to fix.
Having someone other than your own kid tell you that you need to change a few things about being a dad, because when your kids are going, "You're a terrible father," that lands one way. Then your brother in Christ pulling you aside and saying, "Hey man, like let's talk about a couple things."
You might want to still evaluate yourself if your kid says it too.
You're gonna say that.
Like more than one thing, like yourself and then your parenting style. If I don't know, there's like, I know some kids out there who they say that and I wouldn't take much stock in it, but the fact that their kid is saying that to their adult also, that's like a double-edged sword. Anyways, that's a whole nother episode, I think.
But we're all landing in having teenagers in the house now, so it's a wild card.
Yeah, I have a spectrum across 7-year-olds. I have two 12-year-olds on the edge of that deep precipice of teenhood.
Yeah,
that's kind of scary for me. Like I'm dealing with one. He's doing okay. He's turning 15 this year. I got two that are turning 13, and that's for me scary. I don't know how I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
All right. So, but why inadequacy, Jimmy? Why are we starting with that? It's so depressing, right? The overarching theme today is just like, if you're not feeling like you're doing good enough, okay? I mean, I'm just gonna spill the beans here for the group, whoever that one person is watching us. If you're not feeling like you're doing good enough, you know what? Moses didn't feel like he was doing good enough either. If we want to take this to the biblical roots, Moses actually fought every step of the way, kicking and screaming into what we know as his great legacy. In the beginning, let's just start with the burning bush, right? Actually, let's go before that. Sorry. Moses is not confident before Pharaoh in the beginning, right? He was run out of Egypt. He was hiding in the wilderness, working as a shepherd. He fled Egypt, right? And he was already, we don't talk about that much, but he did kill a guy. And that wasn't his best moment, probably in scripture. But he ran away, and did that fix things by running away from that, Jimmy? I mean, overall, it kind of did for him, but maybe we should focus on that.
In the grand narrative, we can look at how God wove his story into a magnificent redemption arc. That's the yeah.
So he spent several years in the wilderness, but then, I mean, do you think he was like over the hill at that point? Like he's like, I've done all I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna be here and die eventually.
I mean, how long did he? So he went out and I didn't go back and read this, and you're testing my memories skills. He didn't get married. Worked for his father-in-law as a shepherd, tending
Yep.
flocks. Was it around like 40 years that he was out there?
I'm pulling it up right now so I can actually tell
It was
him.
a
Sorry.
while. So he was a much elder man than when he was killing Egyptians or Egyptian.
It actually didn't say.
Didn't say. Okay.
Now Moses was keeping the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian. So he was. Here's another thing. He married. He took that leap of faith and was moving on with his life. He thought he's just doing the man's work in the field. He's trying to make a living. And then angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flaming bush, like, of all things. You think he was like, now what? When this happened? Like, he's just trying to get home, right?
I can think of that feeling of, he was in the throne room, like next in command or next in command. He's somewhere in that of the number one most powerful nation on earth at the time. And he's hanging out with the top people. He's one of the top people. And now he's out just wandering around in the hills, in the mountainside, kicking rocks, chasing sheep. I imagine he had some days where he was having some pity parties. I'm sure he wasn't always, oh yeah, this is the life. I've been through that sort of thing where career-wise things are going great, and I've achieved much and struggled hard and done great things, and then I'm away from those. I'm not doing those things anymore. So then I end up having those pity parties and staring in the mirror going, what are you doing? Like I've been there. I've felt those feelings. So I can relate to where Moses was when he had his God encounter, where I imagine Moses was, mentally.
Right. And I mean, do you think he was already like, I don't know. He was obviously hiding, right? He was hiding in the wilderness, carrying on with his life, thinking his past was back there. He probably didn't think that it'd ever catch up with him, or he hoped it wouldn't, right? But I think whenever God started talking to him, and there's a hint that God wanted to do something to help and go back and do something for him, I feel like Moses was already like discounting himself because of the things he did in the past. And I feel like as dads, we do the same thing a lot of times. As dads, we make one mistake, or we make one mistake repeatedly. We do that too. And we never think that we're good enough. We always have this stigma about ourselves. Like, I always fail at fill in the blank, XYZ. I can never do something better or greater. I can't step up and be that better leader in my household because of my past or because of something I've done in the past. And I mean, I recently went through my testimony. I went through something at church recently, and it got me thinking a little bit, because one of the elders of our church came up to me afterwards, was like, you need to forgive yourself. And I've never thought of myself as not forgiving myself, but I repeatedly like hinted at I wasn't good enough because of what I've done in the past before I was saved. And I didn't think I phrased it that way, but thinking back on it, like, maybe I do feel that way a little bit. Maybe I feel like because of my history before salvation, I slightly feel like I'm not worthy to leave my family in a certain way. So it was an interesting moment for me last week when I heard that. I was like, I never thought I'd felt that way before, but now you say it, now I feel that way. Thanks.
Maybe that elder just says it to every single person he ever hears tell their
No,
testimony.
it was genuine. Like, when he said it, like, people, I don't have moments often when people say things to me and I choke up a bit. Like, I didn't like bawl on the guy's shoulder, but it gave me pause, and I had a like, yeah, thanks kind of scenario back. I didn't think that I felt that way. And when he said that, I was like, I totally feel that way. But it kind of goes in with this theme. Like, God already knows what we've done. He knows what we're going to do. That doesn't mean we don't have free will because he already knows it. He just knows it. But he still chooses to use us certain ways. He still chooses to call us to further the glory of his kingdom. So I think that's an important call out, that even as us dads who have mistakes we've made in the past, nothing disqualifies us from working for God. You know, if he calls us, he calls us. That's our job. We're called as fathers in general to lead our family, and that's him already knowing all of our mistakes.
Yeah.
So carrying on, I did find out that I didn't go back far enough on Exodus. I went to Exodus 3, and it does talk a lot more about that in Exodus 2. I'm not going to read it all on here, but I encourage everyone to go back and read that. It talks a little about it toward the end. But we'll look at real fast. So God calls an insecure man, right? So how often has God called us an insecure fathers to do anything? I think just the very fact that he calls us to be fathers is telling in itself exactly what we're talking about. I feel like every moment, every moment that I'm a dad, and I do anything for my kids, is like a burning bush moment for me with God, because I'm always constantly like, I don't know if I should do this or not. Man, are you sure you want me to do this? But yeah. So God gives Moses a large responsibility, right? And what's Moses' response? His response is with insecurity of like, who am I? I'm not he didn't go right off the bat and say yes sir and get right to it, right? His first stance was breaking down why he shouldn't do this because of what his past was and how broken he was, right? He didn't even use good excuses, in my opinion. Like he didn't give a maybe, like, come back next week, God, because I think I might be ready then. No. Yeah. He's just like, who am I? I can't do this.
Well, and it's kind of like what I was saying earlier. I could imagine in the back of his head, he's like, God, you're 40 years too late. Like, why didn't you reach out to me when I was in the throne room already? Like, this would have been so much easier when I was part of that circle, and I'm not now. I'm a runaway fugitive, and I can't go in there. I can't approach them. They know what I've done.
They know
why
me.
Didn't you? Like why didn't you call me when I was buddy with them and I could sit down like, hey guys, let's talk about this. He's like, no, I can't. I'm worthless. Like, that's his response.
Right. And that's common response for us. And I think we covered this ad nauseum already. But moving on, if you look at Moses' focus was on himself. Moses focused on me, I can't do this. I'm not good enough. And God focused on his, in essence, himself. He focused on his presence. He focused on, but I'll be with you. That's what he said to him. I'll be with you. You don't need to worry about anything else. That's like good enough. I'm with you. Everything else you said is null and void, right? And we saw it work out exactly that way. Every single thing God said came true. Everything that God had said always comes true. It's one of the greatest things about reading the Bible is exploring all the prophecies. For me, discovering those connections in the Bible to history and modern day archaeology, it just blows my mind. Like, I didn't believe all this stuff was true at first, and then I started digging into it and seeing all these connections, and then seeing these prophecies and seeing the no-brainers that happen when you start actually breaking down what it means if the Bible is real. And it was amazing because it always points back to God is enough, no matter what. So God is saying essentially, I'm enough to cover anything that you have problems with in this journey. And as dads, I think that's important for us to keep that in mind. Whatever thing we face in our journey as being a dad, God is always saying, I have you covered as long as you stay faithful in me. If you go off on your own and you go solo into the bush, it might not work out well for you. But if you stay here with me and I'm the center of your foundation, I think God is telling us at least that's what I'm reading in this. As a dad, I'm covered. I'm covered in this journey of not knowing what I'm doing with my soon to be teen girls. I'm covered with everything.
I've had several conversations with other guys that don't have any kids, and a number of them that don't plan on having kids. Or I've had conversations with guys that are about to have their first kid, and they are struck with that fear of, I don't want to be a dad, and so I'm not planning to have any kids, or I'm scared to death of becoming a dad because I've had guys say, I had a horrible influence of a father. I had a bad teacher, or I had no teacher. My dad was absent. So I don't know what I'm doing, or I'm afraid I'm going to turn out like him, and that sort of thing. So I could see Moses even having that sort of, you want me to be the representative of the people of Israel, but I mean, I grew up under the influence of the little g gods of Egypt. Like that's my teaching, that's my upbringing, that's my knowledge and understanding. I didn't have the best example. I had a horrible example, and you want me to do this thing, but that's where God steps in. And that's the super encouraging part to me. Like, even if you think you had the poor example or no example, when we depend on and lean on God, like he becomes that example for us. Even if we had great examples or great leaders, great dads, like God ultimately is still there with us. He's going to walk with us. He's going to carry us along through whatever life throws at us.
That's a good point. I recently was talking to a family member who was just talking about how kids not having a great dad in their upbringing is, they were having problems with their children not walking with God right now, and their fruit of the spirit is not pointing to anything that they're saved, they're not walking the path, and it really points back to, I mean, you could use an excuse of their father was terrible. Their father left. Their father wasn't there for them. And their father also, while he was there, claimed to be Christian and did all the wrong things and produced all the wrong outpourings of how a Christian should act, teaching those kids, this is what a Christian acts like, which is terrible. It's the misrepresentation that us as Christians always fight. But I think hearing you say all that and hearing that recently, it really strikes home. Like, yeah, we can misrepresent what being a father is. We can do a terrible job, but one person who won't do a terrible job at being a father is God. Like, God is not going to walk out on you. People walk out on God. God doesn't walk out on people. Even and I saw this also. I don't agree with the end sentiment. It's leaving something out. Maybe not. Maybe it's not. But I saw something online yesterday. It made me pause and read. I usually don't. I didn't engage this because I don't want to feed the fiery furnace of people who just yap online. But this guy, I think he might have been a pastor. I can't remember. He posted a picture of Jesus hugging a person with a pride flag around them. Okay. And it said, and he was referring to, and then on one side of the image, there's a bunch of people with stones in their hands ready to throw. And the other side was like a picture of like a garden and like, I'm guessing heaven was a depiction. And the woman was crying and Jesus was covering. And it referred to the, let he who has no sins cast the first stone. And then it focuses on, and then he says, throw down, I'm butchered this. Throw down your stones, and they left. And then he's told the girl, I don't condemn you. so neither should you, or neither should they, or something like that. I'm misrepresenting as usual. But then he says, go and sin no more. That's the key word. Go and sin no more. So the argument from every side, and this is getting a little off topic, but I don't think it is. Argument is Christians will denounce sin and denounce people who do the wrong things and be mean to them and hate them and all those other things and not love them. And then this depiction is saying even Jesus loved someone who was a sinner, a harlot, right? But the focus is that last word, the last things he said. I don't condemn you. So he's obviously showing this sinner love, right? And he's redeeming her. But he says, go and sin no more. And that is the key that everyone seems to ignore always. And that's kind of what I'm driving home for this whole dad inadequacy thing here is you can feel bad about what you're doing. You can feel bad you're not good enough. And you could even mess up horribly, right? But it is the act of understanding you made a mistake and coming back and continuing to walk in Christ and moving forward. That is returning and sinning no more. That is coming back and relying on the Father to help guide you further and further, not coming back and relying on yourself, which I think self-reliance can be spun into, a sin. You rely on yourself only. It is amount to bigotry. What's the other one? I always forget this one. Help me, Jimmy, please say the word. No, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, self-reliance. Whatever that's. There's a pride. That's what I was thinking. Pride. That's the whole reason I said that whole analogy. Yeah. Pride, right? It's a spin-off of pride, but pride in yourself and pride in not accepting you did something wrong, or accepting that you need a change and you need God in your life. Okay, that is a sin. And if you continuously do that and you think that you can do it all on your own, you're going to fail. You have to start with God. You have to start with my faith is in Christ. My faith is in his path for me forward. Okay. And then you'll see that he'll be your burning bush. He'll cover what your inadequacy, what you do wrong, what you can't do. He will cover that for you. Okay.
Yeah. I think part of something to be encouraged by still is even when God comes alongside you, like you're still going to screw up from time to time. Like I screw up from time to time. Like neither of us are perfect. None of us are perfect.
Yes, you do, Jim.
Moses didn't become perfect. Moses didn't get to enter the promised land.
That's right.
Because of mistake that he made later in life after he did the miraculous signs, all the wondrous things in Egypt, led the people out of Egypt. They crossed over the water, the splitting of the water. Moses was a part of that. People got to see some amazing things that Moses did. God gave him the 10 Commandments, the tablets up on the mountain, and his face is glowing because of his encounter with God, and the people are scared of him. Like all this amazing stuff. And then Moses goes and makes a boneheaded mistake. And God, still has to hold him accountable to the consequences of his actions. And sometimes this is where we end up hearing a lot of prosperity gospel stuff in today's day and age of, well, now that you're a follower of Christ, everything in life is going to be peachy keen. He's going to give you all the riches of everything in this world. Nothing's ever going to go wrong. You're never going to have any disease or sickness, and and everything's just going to be rainbows and sunshine always and forever. And then it goes back to that same feeling of, well, I was told when I was a child that I'm perfect just the way I am, but why do I feel so cruddy? That's the same danger of that prosperity gospel that, if I'm getting all of the things that my heart's desire, why am I still screw up? Why am I still feeling this way? And it's empty and it's hollow and it's shallow. But God didn't ever leave Moses. He didn't ever condemn him and cast him away. He just said, there's a consequence. I'm sorry, bud. This is what I asked of you, and you didn't follow through. I still have to hold you accountable. I still love you, and I'm still with you. And that's when we zoom out and see that entire picture. I mean, we touched on briefly Moses as a child, and now all the way to Moses at the end of his life. And when you see that entire picture, like that's the encouragement to me of, yeah, I've screwed up and I might have to atone for some of those screw ups, and it might keep me from being where I ultimately want to be. And that's a hard lesson to take and a hard lesson to learn, but God is still with me, and that is encouraging.
Exactly. And I wasn't going to stop you, but that's a good segue into our next episode is actually going to focus on Moses and how he interacted with Pharaoh back and forth. We're going to do a bit of a deep dive into this whole Moses in the Bible over the next couple episodes. The next one's going to be about Moses and his interactions with Pharaoh, and focusing on us as dads, how we face challenges and how Moses faced challenges and how he overcame them. So we're going to focus on that one next. It'll be a little micro study. We will go into future episodes of Moses leading these people through the wilderness. And then, like you said, I think the fourth episode will be about God's redeeming of Moses after his mistakes and being truthful and judging him. So we have buckle up. It's a journey, guys. Okay. This was just a tip of the iceberg, and Jimmy almost spilled all the beans, but it's okay. We forgive him still.
Well, I got a little more homework people can do then before our next episode.
Yeah. More
have
homework
you ever,
no, sorry.
Have you ever seen the TV show Promised Land?
No, I haven't.
So it's on YouTube.
Okay.
Well, I think it's on Angel Network too, but they've got all the episodes are on YouTube. So it's a comedy TV show following Moses and the Israelites through the wilderness in the style of episodes of The Office.
I have seen this. Yes.
Yeah, like a documentary film crew is following them and interviewing them. And like you'll have the characters look in the camera dramatically, like Jim in The Office, and all that sort of stuff. Like it's funny. It's we've only made it about halfway through the show, but that's everyone's homework. It's biblical. It's
How many episodes? How many episodes is this?
I don't know. There's maybe like 10 now or something.
Oh, that's awesome. I'll have to start watching that. That's good. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll come back next week and talk more about Moses and his Pharaoh interactions and his adversity he's going to face there. So buckle up. If you guys need anything from us, DadSchoolPodcast.com. You can also hit us up on YouTube, leave a comment. You can hit us up on Facebook. This will be on Facebook. I don't think I post on X anymore because there's like -2 followers on X for this kind of thing right now. So if we ever grow, we'll be on X, but right now, no. Instagram, don't do that. Yeah. Anything else, Jimmy, before we go? Oh, I guess we should tell dads you're enough. You need God. You rely on the Father.
The way you are.
No, you're not perfect the way you are. Bad, Jimmy.
Sorry.
You need God. You need work. But I guess whatever you're gonna say about yourself and you think about yourself, but God. Just think of that. Start there. And once you start saying that, you get into a habit of saying that and going back to the Bible and reading these Exodus. Read Exodus 2 and 3, Exodus 1, 2, and 3. Just read that and you'll feel encouraged about who you are as a person and who God is for you, in my opinion. So there's your homework, peoples. Sorry, I keep on saying last thoughts, Jimmy, than talking. So last thoughts, Jimmy?
I was just going to say, hey, Chris out there, whichever Chris you are, maybe there's multiple Chris's that this applies to. This is for all of you, but we're proud of you. We see you. Keep the faith. We're right here with you.
Exactly. Definitely. Thanks for reaching out to us, and I encourage other dads to do the same. And if you're a wife, send this to your dads, or send this to not your dads. Send this to your husbands.
Your neighbor.
Yeah. Talk to you guys later. Thank you. Have a good day.